Well, and here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we are going to spend the next hour-ish, maybe less, learning how to maximize your Google My Business profile with Locl. So outcomes from our time today, we're going to help you understand what Google My Business is and why it's important. We're going to teach you how and where you can claim your profile, understanding what Locl is and why it's important and a great tool. And we're going to learn how, learn how to take advantage of Locl's tool optimization suite to improve your listing, monitor business performance, and act on insights. Okay, hopefully I got my stuttering out of the way. So let's jump in. So my name is Cecilia Suvagian. I am the database information specialist on the marketing team at Travel Oregon. And joining us today is Alexa Darrow with Locl. They are a Portland-based company, and she is the director of customer success. Also joining us on our technical crew, or backstage crew, if you will, are also from Travel Oregon, Kelda Gilbert-Schmidt and Kate Jorgensen. Kelda and Kate are going to help us monitoring our Q&A. And then also Kelda will be dropping in some links and useful resources in the chat throughout our time today. And Kate will also be moderating that Q&A at the end. And I think we'll have about 15 minutes available for that. Additionally, we will be sending out an email in the next few days that includes links to not only the recording of the session, also a link to a survey and a link that will get you to the actual presentation deck that does include an appendix. Okay, so I'm here to tell you today that listings matter. And there are so many different places, channels, and platforms where businesses are encouraged to be listed. So basically, in the sea of channels, Facebook, TripAdvisor, your website, your local DMO's website, you need to update listings everywhere all the time, right? So easy. Well, we would argue that's near impossible. So if you can't update everywhere, focus where it matters most and can make the most impact. So we would say that is Google. So really, why is that important? Well, currently, over 90% of internet searches are happening in Google, and this is worldwide data. So while there are a fraction of a percentage of people still using Yahoo search, DuckDuckGo is out there, the numbers show Google is ruling the search game. And of these Google searches, almost half are local in nature. So I believe it's 45%-ish right now. And that means that I'm looking for something that's nearby me, or I've entered in a specific city or zip code. So this is showing you that visitor interaction, that sales cycle that is happening millions of times a day. We are at a point where a lot of people have technology at their fingertips. We travel around with these things called smartphones that are essentially a little computer in your pocket. So people go to the internet, they go to Google to find out, in this example, and I would say during this heat wave week, I need ice cream right now. Where should I get it? So you search, you compare, you make a decision. The next step, get directions and drive there. Or maybe you have some questions and you actually decide to contact the business. And then obviously you visit and make a purchase. And I believe, trying to think of the right stat, I believe it is nearly 80% of these searches where a direction request takes place, 80% of those actually lead to a purchase. That's pretty good. Now, how does your business look on Google? Here are just some screenshots on how your business could appear both in Google Search and Google Maps. Okay, now listings that appear in Google Search and Google Maps are powered by one of Google's many products. This one is called Google My Business. And you see I've abbreviated it as GMB here, and I may actually refer to it as GMB, but Google My Business is what I'm talking about. So Google My Business is critical for businesses to appear accurately in Google. It's the largest source of organic search exposure for your business online. And these Google My Business profiles are a significant signal ranking in Google. So Google recognizes if you are participating in Google My Business, if you are making regular updates. So say you're adding 3 new photos a month, or you're engaging with your customers that have left reviews. We also know that Google has shifted from a search engine to an answer engine. A lot of times you do a Google search and the information you're looking for is served right up to you in Google. You don't even need to click. And speaking of clicking or not, Google My Business is a top driver for zero-click searches. So that again means you're not clicking into another website from the search results, or you can also, if you click within the information Google provides, like a direction request or to make a phone call, those clicks aren't actually considered real clicks. And I will not go further into this rabbit hole, but maybe we'll have some time in Q&A if we want to go deeper into that. So basically, what happens in the Google knowledge panels doesn't count as a click. Okay, so we know accurate and compelling listings are important. Up-to-date listings are nearly 3 times more likely to consider reputable and to be trusted by visitors and customers. They're also 70% more likely to attract location visits. Your customer is giving you their money, and they're half more likely to lead to that purchase. Oh, and what I didn't mention in the previous slide, we haven't even touched on voice searches. Everybody has an assistant. I know I had to turn my my Google Mini microphone off so it wasn't constantly chirping at me right now. But Google looks to the information within Google My Business to get answers when you are making requests via voice as well. So where do we start, right? Well, there are some things to do that are a little bit easier, a lighter lift out of the gates. First of all, it is so important that you claim your business. And there is a slide in the appendix of this deck if you haven't yet claimed your business with instructions on how to do that. It's very important that you add missing information or you correct information that is wrong. And this is quite common related to name, address, and phone number. That's what the NAP stands for. Also, it can be incredibly helpful to potential new customers if you do have a short description that tells people, you know, what to expect. What kind of restaurant do you have? Also, updating photos and flagging bad ones. And definition of a bad photo, it could be like it's technically flawed, maybe it's pixelated, fuzzy, out of focus, or maybe the content is wrong. Maybe it's your parking lot instead of your business, you know, the exterior of your storefront. It's also important that you try to engage with your customers, the good reviews and the bad reviews. And this can be as simple as thanking someone for the 5-star review and saying, can't wait to have you back. Okay, now, I've been talking about Google My Business, and as I mentioned before, Google My Business is the Google product that historically has powered the results you see in Google search and Google Maps. Now, I would argue I actually do manage some of Travel Oregon's listings. So I have used Google My Business before, and I can tell you there are some challenges. It can become overwhelming and the interface can get a little confusing if you're not sure exactly where to go to do what you need to do. And in some cases, there are a number of menu items that you could actually ignore and might never use. If you do have multiple locations for your business, I know for us, we have a handful of welcome centers and our office location that I manage. I have to manage those one by one. So I'm opening multiple windows and I can't make a bulk update to all my listings at once. And my insights are limited to 90 days of data. That's only 1 quarter. And then lastly, Google My Business isn't connecting to other channels. So I still have to add the Google My Business to all of the other listing channels that I'm updating, whether that be social, TripAdvisor, Yelp, etc. So this got Travel Oregon to thinking, and gosh, this was probably almost a year ago, if we can remember back there. What if there was actually an easier way? So what if we could support tourism recovery in Oregon by helping business owners and managers improve their presence on Google, which in turn increases Oregon's overall footprint and appearance in Google. And also, if we could amplify this business data so that it's pushing this information to Travel Oregon and to industry and DMO partners' websites at the same time. Well, I'm very happy to tell you all, there is. So meet Locl. We consider them to be the missing layer in this cake, or the missing piece in this puzzle. And I have to give a shout out where a shout out is due. We first became aware of Locl and how awesome it was by our regional partners, Travel Portland. So if any of y'all Travel Portlanders are on this call, thank you. So I don't have to read the bullet points here, but I can definitely say they are correct. So the key differentiators, I can now manage all of my Google My Business listings in a single hub. I can monitor my business performance and see 18 months of data, which is really cool. I can also see this data by individual location or a combination of all or just a few. I can engage with customer reviews directly through Locl's platform. I can still add posts just like I could through Google My Business. So a post covers events, deals or offers, and then products. And I'm also excited to say Locl is connected to Travel Oregon's listing database. So when I make an update in Locl, that update pushes to Travel Oregon, and from there pushes to any website that is integrated with our listing database. So here's how the breakdown, how it works. First, the individual business would go to sign up for Locl at a unique Locl Travel Oregon landing page. You know you're in the right place because you'll see the Travel Oregon logo on it. When you sign up for Locl, you're going to be asked to connect to your Google My Business account. So you make that handshake, check that box, and then you can get started. Updates you make in Locl, again, like I said, push to Google. They also push to Travel Oregon's listing database, which is called Otis. So if you hear me refer to Otis, that's what I'm talking about. And then we currently have, I believe it is 12 tourism industry partners that are plugged in to our Otis database. So when you make your update in Locl, you have it correct in Google search, in Google Maps, you have it correct on Travel Oregon's website, and then to partner websites. And what's more is for any websites that are pulling directly from Google's API, like Travel Portland does, your changes also get to them. So with that, now that I've blown your mind with all the stats and the follow the lines and do the work, I'm going to hand it over to Alexa to tell us a little bit more and give us a tour and a demonstration of the Locl platform. Alexa.
Thank you, Cecilia. And this Wizard of Oz curtain photo is my absolute favorite, so thank you. Before I jump in, I just wanted to echo all of the sentiments that Cecilia just shared. I feel like I don't even really need to be here. She gave you such a great overview. But I am going to dig a little bit deeper today into how to actually use Locl. So as Cecilia mentioned, I am the Director of Customer Success here. I've been here with the company for 2 years now, and feel more like a pro inside of this platform than I ever imagined I would. And I'm super excited for everybody that's here to be able to start using it. So thinking about right now, especially as the world opens back up, we're seeing a ton of consumer activity on the rise in Portland, in Oregon, nationwide. Which is really exciting. But keeping that in mind, you want to make sure that you stay relevant and top of mind. We know that running a business requires you to wear a lot of hats, and managing your presence on Google may not be your top priority, considering you are, probably doing a billion things every day. It can be a hassle, it can be time consuming, but that's essentially why we created Locl. So we, as Cecilia mentioned, are here to save you more time. We're here to get your Google listing, driving you more visibility and get you more customers. We will give you notifications about when to complete tasks and features like Google Posts, like Cecilia mentioned, and scheduling or posting photos and getting you on your way to success in less time and just making it super efficient for you. So while there's a lot that you'll be able to do once you're in and using Locl, there are a few basic things that we want to make sure that you start with to make sure that your listing is as up to date and as accurate as possible. So I'm going to share my screen here, and hopefully this technology thing will work. Cool. Thanks, Cecilia, for that thumbs up. You never quite know. So this is Locl, and this is Locl specifically brought to you by Travel Oregon. So as Cecilia mentioned, there is a dedicated link that you will be sent after this that you'll be able to sign up through, and you'll see the Travel Oregon logo, so you'll know you're in the right place, like she mentioned. So once you're in here, the first thing that I'd recommend doing is heading over to your Manage Locations page. So inside of Locl, just quickly echoing again what Cecilia said earlier, you are able to quickly manage either a single or multiple locations at one time. So as you can see in the top, there will be a bar where you can actually select your locations. So depending on whether you want to update information for all of them or just one of them at a time, this gives you the opportunity to toggle between those. So here in this Manage Location section, you can do many things. So to start, I would say that one of the most important things to do is making sure that your business name is correct. So here it's called a location name. So as you can see, we are toggled on the PDX Welcome Center that is managed by Travel Oregon, and it's located inside the airport. So making sure that this is what you want your location name to look like on Google is huge, because if somebody is trying to find you and your name is either misspelled or maybe it's called something that it used to be called, no one will be able to find you, and that's going to confuse a lot of people. So just starting out by making sure that this is correct, which you can do right in here by just editing and then clicking update to save, is key. After that, I would say that updating your business hours is one of the simplest yet most important ways to stay connected to your customers. So Making sure that your hours are up to date is how people will know if you're open, if you're closed, and if they're inaccurate, you could definitely risk losing a sale. So you can update your hours, again, directly inside of Locl to one or several locations at a time, just by making sure that you have your proper location selected, and then figuring out what hours are open or closed and clicking update. And we also have a section you'll see for special hours. So for example, with July 4th coming up, Independence Day, you can confirm whether or not you'll be open or closed on this day. And again, by pressing update, that will then reflect on Google within 24 to 48 hours. So just to say it as a general rule of thumb, any updates that you make inside of Locl will be reflected on Google, hopefully within 24 to 48 hours, if not sooner. So once these are updated, then I would say moving over to this side of the page and looking at your categories is super important. So we rarely run into a business who has their categories set correctly. Categories help inform both people and the search engine about the type of business you're managing. So Google allows you to set both a primary category and secondary categories, and you can pick up to 9 additional secondary categories to help optimize and cast a wider net in search, meaning that the primary category you select on Google My Business, it's important because that's what searchers will see on your listing. So if you are a restaurant in Bend, then making sure that your primary category is set to restaurant with additional categories like, let's say, bar, cocktails, brunch, etc. Here you can see we're inside of this Travel Oregon listing. So we have it set to Tourist Information Center as the primary, and then a visitor center as one of the additional categories. So again, having multiple keywords here set in these categories is only going to help people find you more often, get eyes on your listing more times than not. Inside of the Manage Location section, you can also update your business description, and that is something that Cecilia had mentioned earlier. So having a little blurb or boilerplate, if we want to use marketing terms, is super important on Google, so people know exactly who you are, a little bit about you, what they're getting when they actually go to visit you. So you can see here, this is just a brief description, and you can use up to 750 characters. And you know, the more robust, the more information, the better. Yeah, all you do is click update when you want to save it. So by completing just these tasks and then moving on to your business attributes and services, will again help with these optimizations. So your business attributes can be found again inside of Manage Locations. And right now we have all of these locations selected, but let's say we only want to change our attributes on the PDX Welcome Center. You will see that there's a variety of attributes here, which help improve your search results. My brain is working faster than my mouth right now. That you can select a variety of options to, again, help with your search results. So for instance, right now, obviously over the last year and a half, we've been dealing with some new health and safety measures that maybe we didn't have to worry about before. So Google has actually implemented these inside of their interface, and you're able to actually choose things like you need a mask when you visit, or the staff is still wearing masks. A temperature check is required. You'll also see accessibility options, different amenities. There's a place that you can choose whether you're a women-led business, a Black-owned business, a veteran-led business, etc. So depending on how your categories are set, this will populate different types of attributes. So definitely go in and make sure that these are up to date. And again, you just click update when you want to save. So by completing just these few tasks inside of this Manage Location section, just off the bat, you'll be on your way to appearing in more search results and turning those searches into sales. So once you have these basic things out of the way, then you can start thinking about performance-specific optimizations, meaning updating your photos, updating Google posts, focusing on reviews and responses. And these are all found also within Locl as separate tools. So let me get to the right screen here. Here inside of this photos and video section, you'll see a whole panel of previously uploaded images. So right now we have all of the locations selected that Travel Oregon manages. So a few welcome centers, like I mentioned, we have the PDX Welcome Center here. So you can see basically a record of everything that you've done thus far. You can also toggle between to see, you know, which ones have had updates individually. And so for instance, the PDX Welcome Center here, you can see those photos specifically uploaded to that location. Now, uploading photos is a huge search ranking factor for Google and for search results. So having compelling photos on your listing makes all the difference. And there's a stat out there that actually says that Google Maps listings with over 100 photos actually get 20 times more views than other listings with less photos. So photos are huge and important. And as I'm sure all of you know too right now with social media and, you know, being on Instagram, looking at imagery, making sure that you have appealing photos is also really important. So in order to upload photos, all you are going to want to do is click this little upload photo button, and you are able to choose whether you want to upload a photo directly to one location, or if you want that image syndicated out across all locations. So for instance, if we have a very generic picture of Oregon, let's say Crater Lake, and we want that photo to be on all of these, you just click select, and there's several fields here that I won't go into, but it's super easy to just upload, select a category, and click publish. You can also publish videos through Locl. So Google allows you to do 30-second short videos like a social media video to your Google My Business listing. You can upload your logo and also your cover photo. So also Google Posts are a huge search ranking factor, and they're like free advertising on the listing that will basically help with optimization and search ranking. So they're pretty similar to social media posts like you see on Facebook and Instagram. And you can upload several different types of posts. So right now you're seeing just a variety of updates that we made to a few of the different locations for Travel Oregon and their locations. And to actually upload posts, all you're going to want to do is click this little upload button here, or create post button. Sorry, my video screen was blocking the actual button. So you click create post. And once you do that, it will take you to a very similar page as the photo and video upload page, and it will give you the option of posting 3 different types. So as Cecilia mentioned earlier, you can do a what's new post, which is basically like an informational post. So let's say you're a restaurant and you're about to launch brunch on the weekends. This would be a really good place for you to talk about brunch. So you can upload a really nice image, let's say of bacon and eggs. You can write your post here with content about, you know, when brunch is launching, you know, what the hours will be, what maybe some of the menu specials would be, and then you can add your button, which is a call to action button to direct people directly to your site to either book a table or learn more about this new brunch through your website or through a Facebook page, whatever that might be, and then you can publish the post here. There's also event posts, which basically talk about specific events, whether they're in person or virtual. So let's say that we wanted to publicize and promote this webinar that we're hosting right now. We would create a post basically giving the date, the time, which you can select right here through the tool. Let's say June 22nd. We can talk about details, webinar with Travel Oregon, webinar, and then you can add the button here, again, a call to action for people to book a spot online, or if it's in person to buy a ticket, and then you can put a link here and click publish. And then same goes for those offer or promotional posts. So these are really cool because this actually gives you a chance to enter a coupon code or a link to redeem that offer, as well as put terms and conditions in the post. So if you're like a first-time customer, this only applies to you, that's where this would live. And again, you can publish here. You can also save and duplicate posts through our tool, which is not something that you can do inside of Google or inside of Google My Business interface. So basically that means that once you fill out all of this stuff, you can actually duplicate it to publish multiple times so it doesn't disappear from the listing. Because something to note is that, especially the what's new posts, they disappear from the live carousel on Google, which I'll show you in a second, after 7 days. So this here is what posts look like on the Google interface. So when you're searching and if you're looking for this welcome center, you'll see a post that lives here. You can see this one is still live in that carousel, and it's an update post. There's a little description here about how, you know, if you have questions, we can help because they're a visitor center and that's what they're there for. And you can see other updates here in this update carousel. So one thing that I wanted to mention is that unfortunately, I know we have some lodging properties here today. Google does not allow for lodging properties to actually post on Google. So restaurants can do it, visitor centers can do it, different shops can do it, but lodging is not allowed right now. However, there are a few workarounds. So I have actually pulled up an example here. So this is from the Society Hotel in Bingen, down in over in Washington. I know this is obviously not an Oregon location, but I remembered this is a really good example of a lodging property who wasn't able to post an update during COVID through being a hotel. However, they have a sister bar and cafe that's attached to the hotel and are able to post an update about the hotel through this separate listing. So as you can see here, these previous updates, this is something that they posted through their sister property about the closures during COVID, or remaining open, I guess, during COVID. So there are workarounds in that way. So if you have something that's another listing inside or attached to your property, you can use the Google My Business listing of that location to post the content for the updates about your property. There are a couple of other workarounds too. So you can take screenshots of any marketing materials. Let's say you're sending out a newsletter to your customer base. And if you take a screenshot, you can actually then upload it into the photo section of Locl, which will publish as a photo on Google. And then you can also update your business description, which I had showed you before, with some of these updates, because that's another place that Google allows you to update actual content and aside from your business information. So updating your description with that information is a great way to communicate this since you can't post. I know this is a little confusing and probably a little frustrating for anyone that is a lodging property, but I did want to make sure that I mentioned that. So just in case you do sign up after this webinar today, that you aren't confused when unfortunately your posts specifically aren't being published to Google. And if you have any questions about that later, I'm also happy to answer anything related. So back into the tool, we have this really cool reputation section. So that was another place that I said is really important with actual performance specific optimizations. So when you're in reputation, you will see all of your customer reviews for each of your locations. So if you're a single location, you'll see all of the reviews for one. And if you have multiple, you can toggle just like you did with the other tools in here with like photos and posts, and actually you either clear all or select all. So right now we have all of them selected. And here you can see all of the reviews in chronological order. You can also toggle to see which your team has already replied to, as well as those that haven't been replied to. So as Cecilia noted earlier, it's really important to reply to all reviews, whether they're positive or negative, because reviews, again, are a huge search ranking factor. So the more reviews you have, the more interactions you have with these reviews, the more often that you will show up in Google search. So you can also toggle these by rating. So if you only want to view 5-star, you can do so. If you only want to review 1-star, you can do so. And this should be reflected of all of the reviews that you've gotten in Google. They will populate inside of here. So this is great. Just to point it out again, instead of having to toggle between individual Google My Business listings on the back end, which Cecilia said earlier is just super frustrating if you're somebody that's managing 6 different locations. Having to pull up each page individually and respond to reviews can just be super time consuming. So we've just made it super easy and efficient for you to do it right through here. So once you've worked with these tools or inside these tools to make all of these great optimization updates, the photos, the videos, the ongoing posts, responding to reviews, Then we help you see the effects of all of these optimization efforts through our analytics page. So as Cecilia mentioned earlier, Google, their data is only tracked over the course of a quarter. So you can only see a quarter's worth of data, whereas in Locl, you can actually see 18 plus months worth of data, which is huge because you want to see exactly like how your maps listings are performing, what's been happening when. And so what's nice is you'll be able to see these year-over-year comparisons like you see here for all of the locations at once or for one location at a time. So similar to these other tools, all you do is go here and select either all, or if you only want to look at one location at a time, you can do that. And then once you've selected what location you want to look at, you can toggle by date. So right now we have May 1st to May 31st of 2021. So we're showing all of the maps action or the actions taking on a maps listing for that specific month-long time period. And I'm not going to go through these individually because there's a lot here. But as you can see, you'll be able to see your website visits, your phone calls, your direction requests. The two things that we really like to focus on are the discovery traffic here and the direct traffic. So with your discovery traffic, this is going to reflect basically all of the optimization work that we just went through with those photos, with the posts, et cetera, because this is basically showing how people are finding you based on what you're offering. So if you're a restaurant and you've done the work inside of Locl to upload some photos of your new brunch menu, you've posted about your new brunch option on the weekends, you've responded to the reviews that have come in from the launch of brunch, then this is going to start, you'll start seeing an increase here in this discovery traffic. So basically this means that people are searching specifically for a category, a product, or a service. So if you just launched brunch and you've optimized your listing for that most recently, in this time period, you'll see that this discovery traffic is reflected by people searching things like brunch near me, brunch in Bend, Bloody Mary nearby, whatever that might be. You can find, again, these numbers here. So, and then the direct traffic here is basically how people are searching via your business name or brand name, your specific address or location. So again, this is the PDX Welcome Center. So somebody's actually searching PDX Welcome Center on their desktop or a mobile device. You can also see how many post views you've gotten in that time period, your total photo views, and any new customer reviews that have come in. So this analytics piece is super important. Again, because it shows the effects of all of your optimization efforts, but it's also a really good way to figure out exactly how you want to spend your marketing and ad dollars. So specifically in this zip code location, you can see exactly where people are coming from and where they're searching from, and then figure out, okay, like, do we want to target more ads there, or do we want to do some campaign around this specific area? That is a super helpful way to see what's actually happening and where to spend those dollars. So last but definitely not least, you will find at the very top here this overview page. So if you're not a Google My Business expert and this is all brand new for you, it's no problem. Basically, we lay this out so that way when you sign in, you'll be taken here where you'll find a personalized list of tasks to help guide you into the things that you should be doing and some specific recommendations. So for instance, you know, there's a notification here that says respond to customer reviews. So you have 15 new customer reviews awaiting your response, or you have a new poor customer review. Essentially, once you start checking these things off from your list, this will also show you exactly how much time you've saved by doing and completing these tasks. And you can also sort these by month or for all time. So this is really meant, this tool, our tool just in general is meant to, again, save you time, make things more efficient, help keep you on track. Also, obviously, with partnering with Travel Oregon, help them work together with you as a community to make sure that people who are visiting are finding the things that they need while they're here. And that's really like the most important piece of all of this. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, you will be able to rewatch this whole presentation and see this demonstration again after this is done. It is recorded. We did try to make this as user-friendly as possible to make sure that it's totally you're totally able to understand this as you move through it. But if you have questions, either the Travel Oregon team or myself would be more than happy to help you. And before I turn it over to Cecilia, I do want to address a couple of questions that I think we received on the back end before this webinar. And I know that we'll have another Q&A time, but I did want to just address a couple of them while I have you here. So one of the questions that came in was specifically related to adding another new platform. So meaning, you're already managing different platforms day to day. You're already inside of Google My Business, maybe thinking like, oh, do I really need to do like yet another thing or sign up for yet another thing? Hopefully you have now heard why you should do this, but just to reiterate that this whole program, it really is a time saver for you. It does work to help things just move along more quickly. And because you can make these optimization updates for many locations at once, so if you are a manager of like multiple locations, I think that in itself is like a huge win. And I can, again, follow up with any additional questions about that too. But another thing I wanted to just touch on is someone had said that they're eager to learn how to better use the data. Hopefully in the last bit about the analytics piece and talking about marketing and ad spend and just seeing exactly how people are using your listing and the actions taken on it, there's a little bit better understanding about that. But if there's anything that I might have missed that you're still questioning, definitely feel free to ask. So yeah, I think that's it. Cecilia, I will happily turn it back over to you.
All right, scene change. Okay, everyone, we are officially on the home stretch. As Alexa said, if you do have some questions that we didn't cover during this presentation, now's your time to shine. Drop those in the Q&A. The button is in that stripe of buttons on the lower half of your screen. So we hope through our time today, we have been able to show you that updating your Google My Business doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to take that much time. So we're encouraging you, thanks to Locl, to be able to do that more easily and also take advantage of some of the tools and features they have that Google My Business does not. If you haven't already done so, claim your Google My Business profile in Google. And as I mentioned, there is a slide included in the appendix of this doc with how to do that. The link is up there now. If you've already claimed and Google's already verified you get to skip to step 2. You can sign up for the Travel Oregon program via this unique link. Again, you'll know you're in the right place. You'll see the Travel Oregon logo. And just to let you know that this, the actual, I guess, program that you're getting, it's a combination of features from Locl's basic account, which any business is eligible for, and some great features from their premium account level. So it's a unique package of tools for your business that is above the basic level. You can learn more. We have a toolkit on Travel Oregon's industry site here. You can go learn more. Also, as Alexa said, please, if you do have questions at any point, reach out to us, integrated@traveloregon.com. And I would also encourage, if you aren't already signed up on Travel Oregon's industry e-news, to please do that. That will ensure that you are getting relevant industry information. That's probably where you'll hear about our next training first. We will be offering another session in the fall, hoping to build on what we've talked about today. And I think with that, we are at 12:45. Why don't we open it up for questions? So I am going to stop my share and let's see if I can get Kate Jorgensen on screen. I think I've got you. Hello, Kate.
Well, hello. I am done lurking. I am now here to ask a few questions. So we didn't get a ton through the Q&A, and I'd really encourage folks, feel free to chime in there now, drop in the chat if you would like. But a couple questions that came up that I'd like to have Alexa speak to, and it might be worth pulling up your screen, maybe to show, but I'll let you decide. These are two separate questions, but they're kind of related because it's about how you manage a location. So a specific question was around why categories are so wonky. Can they change them? And I think that's pretty specific to the Google categories. And then separate but related, a hotel is not able to edit their description, and they're wondering how they can go ahead and change that. So do you mind speaking to that for a minute?
Sure. So I will touch on the category section first. So the categories are a little wonky, that is accurate. And unfortunately, they're already pre-populated by Google. So you can select the categories by, and actually, yes, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again, actually, because I think this will be a lot easier to explain if I have it in front of me. So if I have this manage location section up here inside of Locl, which here we go. And then I'm wanting to edit the categories for a specific location. So I'll go here to the PDX Welcome Center. And I scroll down, you will see this category section. So again, we have this tourist information center, we have the visitor center. So if we wanted to add additional categories, unfortunately, we can't create our own. Google just does not allow for it. But you do have an option of selecting from hundreds of categories as long as you start typing the right words in. So let's say that the PDX Welcome Center was also a restaurant, and there was a bar that was located there. So if I know specifically what I'm looking for, I can type in bar and then actually go through and select what is applicable to my location. As you can see, there again are just so many different options when you start actually typing something in. It will take a little bit of time to sort of figure out if the thing that you're looking for isn't there. You have to get a little bit creative potentially with what could be there. But I would say just feel free and go ahead and play. This just clicked barrister. That is clearly not the one that we want. But go ahead and play around, because you can always X them out here, and you can always change them at a later date. So another thing to mention with categories is when I had talked earlier about the attributes and services, if you go into here, these are basically based off of your primary categories. Unfortunately, with the subscription that you have with Travel Oregon, the services part is locked. However, you can, again, just select different business attributes, which will help with the sort of like fleshing out those categories that you pick. So it's like once you pick the category, if then you go in and add all these different attributes, that will just help enhance your profile with specific keywords. So just keeping that in mind too. Now switching gears to hotels, Google makes it very challenging for a hotel just across the board. And it's, I think, they're displayed very differently on Google than a lot of other businesses because of the type of business it is with their travel. So Google Travel is like a thing. I mean, you all know there's like Google Flights and Google Hotels. And so they sort of have this stronghold on that industry right now, the tourism industry in that capacity. So much like posts, unfortunately these days, and I think this is actually a newer update, because I seem to recall that at one point in time you were able to update a description. Hotels can also no longer update their business descriptions, which is strange. But again, if you have other listings as part of your hotel, that is a really good place for you to update a description about also the adjoining property. So if you have like a restaurant inside, it can say like located inside the fabulous blah, blah, blah hotel and spa, and you can give information in that sense. And then, like I mentioned before with posts, since you can't post, if you wanted to update a description via your photos, I would say like uploading a photo that just looks really nice, that you've created in, you know, whether it's like Word or PowerPoint or whatever, and uploading it that way as a JPEG in your photo description or photo section, then that is a workaround to being able to show people what you offer. But I know it's not ideal. So hopefully that helps. I wish that I had more control over what Google allowed for, but unfortunately I do not.
So I just want to quick go back on when we were kind of talking about the difference in subscriptions. So prior to our partnership, there was basically two ways to use Locl. One was a pretty basic account that was free, but what you could do within that platform was very limited. And then there's premium, which is a ton of different features that help make managing your Google My Business listing super easy. We are somewhere in the middle of that. And so there are a lot of great features and analytics and things that you can access within Locl that we have, through our partnership, are able to offer to tourism-related businesses in Oregon for free. So I just kind of want to put that out there. We've actually got a little sheet that literally shows like the kinds of features and functionality that come with each subscription that we can share. And I can include a link to when we send the follow-up email, which is another quick go back. I dropped it in chat earlier, but we will be sending out an email not only to the folks that attended today, but to anyone who registered with links to the recording, to the presentation, and a few other resources as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. I also wanted to ask about, there was a question around what platforms Locl is pushing to right now. And Alexa, if you want to chime in, you can. I feel like I can kind of field this one. Currently, Locl is pushing to Google My Business. That's the primary focus of this product. But as Cecilia mentioned earlier, we are now also getting updates, traveloregon.com, because they're pushing to our database, which also powers over 10 other DMO websites, which in that slide that was sort of showing the flow, at least at a very high level, explains how that's working. My understanding, Alexa, is that your team is looking into other channels as we speak. So there will be more opportunities coming, but we might need to keep it on the DL a little bit. But I'll defer to you if there's anything else you want to add.
Yeah, so I know Kate just called out sort of these subscription models. I did just want to note that's something that you can find in the most, like the highest level premium subscription. That's not currently part of the Travel Oregon partnership, but you do have the option to upgrade to if you'd like, is we have a social media connector. So if you have a Facebook page or an Instagram page that you manage as a business, we actually can suck in that information and it pulls in the last 7 posts from those platforms, which you can then edit and push out to Google. So that helps you save more time and more energy and having to like recreate the content wheel over and over again. So that's actually all just in there for you to edit and push out. So that is something I wanted to mention, but unfortunately, with this Travel Oregon subscription that is not currently available, that doesn't mean it won't always be that way. And then we don't, I see the question about Bing, we don't currently connect to that platform specifically. However, the one I did want to call out is we are connected through Shopify. So something to keep in mind. And if you want more information about that, feel free to reach out and we can send more.
Yeah, and just a quick go back related to the hotel description question. Another follow-up to that was regarding where those descriptions come from. So there is a description, but it doesn't seem to be relevant to anything that they have posted. So if, I don't know, Cecilia or Alexa, if one of you wants to field that one. Okay, Alexa.
That's something, okay, so on Google, you'll see that there are basically 2 places for descriptions. So there's a small, like very short 1-sentence summary under your business name at the top of a listing. And then lower down towards the post section on Google is where the business description location description lives. So the location description is the longer one, the lengthier one that you saw that you could edit inside of Locl earlier. The short 1-sentence summary is actually created by a staff member at Google based on reviews, based on photos, based on menu offerings, whatever information they've found through your listing, they write a blurb and post it. And sadly, there's no way to edit that. However, there is a way to report it or flag it and then follow up with Google through a form about why that's incorrect and what it should be changed to. So I personally in the past have worked with businesses that have had this issue where they're like maybe a brew pub, but it's showing them as like fine dining or something, or maybe they had like an oyster special one time and now all of a sudden they're like categorized as like oyster restaurant in Portland, Oregon, like, which is not the case. So this is something that can be fixed, but it does require a little bit more work through the Google My Business or the Google interface itself on search by flagging it and reporting it, and then giving your own summary of what your business should be.
Great, thank you so much. I just would love to encourage anyone who is still on the call to chime in with any questions. Let's see, one more came to, oh, thank you. Yeah, if there's any additional questions, please do reach out. As we had mentioned earlier, this is a brand new program for us and we're kicking the tires. So if you do sign up for a Locl account and you hop in and you have a good experience, let us know. If you have some other kind of experience, let us know. We would love your feedback. And to that end, we'll be dropping a survey link here in the chat about this training specifically. Please do fill it out. We take your feedback very seriously and it informs our future trainings. So please do fill that out. And I'm seeing a couple things coming in chat, so I'm gonna double check that before I cut us loose. One moment.
And also, I'd just like to chime in to say thank you for all that you are already doing. As Alexa spoke to, everybody's wearing so many hats. Like, it's not, this isn't easy, and we're doing the best we can. So thank you.
And after officially checking chat, it's a lot of thanks in there. Thank you. Following up on what Cecilia said, and Josiah also responded letting us know that it helps to turn off ad blockers. So I just wanted to say that really quick to anyone else who might be running into this issue. And as it relates to some of those struggles with lodging properties, we may or may not have the answers for you, but please do let us know when you're running into hiccups. We'll do our best to get answers. I can't remember if we said it in this presentation or possibly a different one, but there are some challenges working with Google. You don't really get access to a person, and while we may not be Google experts, we have gone pretty deep into their product and platform and are happy to help however we can. So thanks again, everyone. Really appreciate you taking time out to meet with us today. And thank you, Cecilia and Alexa, for walking us through everything. This was super helpful and informative. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.